My name is Sarah Chin, and for 6 years my family believed I was a failure. Not struggling. Not trying. A complete, embarrassing failure. The family reunion at my parents' lake house should have been a celebration. My golden child brother Marcus had just made partner at his law firm. My sister Jessica's husband had been promoted to regional sales director. Even my cousin Tyler was there, fresh off closing his first real estate deal. And then there was me. Sarah, honey, my Aunt Linda asked with that pitying tone I'd grown to hate. Are you still doing that internet thing? I was standing by the buffet table, plate in hand. The entire family turned to look at me. 37 people. All eyes on the family disappointment. I am, I said simply. Mom swooped in like she always did. Damage control mode activated. She's been working on it for years. We keep telling her to apply for real positions, but she smiled that tight smile that said everything. You know how stubborn she can be. Marcus laughed. Sis, I could get you an interview at my firm. Paralegal position. Entry level, but at least it's legitimate work. I'm good, thanks. Are you though? Jessica chimed in, wine glass in hand. Because Mom said you're still in that tiny apartment. No car. No savings. Sarah, you're 34 years old. I took a bite of potato salad. Said nothing. Dad joined the conversation, his voice carrying across the deck. We're worried about you, sweetheart. This online business fantasy, it's been 6 years. At some point you have to face reality. Tyler, emboldened by the group consensus, added his 2 cents. My buddy tried the startup thing. Wasted 3 years of his life. Now he's got a real job at Amazon and he's actually building a future. That's what we want for you, Mom said, putting her hand on my shoulder. A future. Security. Not this. Whatever you're doing. I smiled. I appreciate the concern. Do you? Mom's voice sharpened. Because honestly, Sarah, it's embarrassing. People ask me what my daughter does and what do I say? Oh, she has a website. It's pathetic. The word hung in the air. Pathetic. 37 family members heard it. Some looked uncomfortable. Most nodded in agreement. Get a real job, Mom said firmly. Please. For your own good. I set down my plate. I'll think about it. I left the reunion early, claiming a work deadline. No one believed me. I could hear Jessica laughing as I walked to my car. A work deadline. From what? Her blog. What my family didn't know, what I'd deliberately kept from them for 6 years, was that I wasn't running a blog. I was running MediSecure, the fastest growing healthcare cybersecurity company in North America. It started 7 years ago when I was working as a junior IT specialist at a hospital. I watched a ransomware attack shut down an entire wing. Patient records locked. Surgeries delayed. People's lives held hostage by hackers demanding Bitcoin. The hospital paid. They had no choice. I quit that job and spent every waking hour learning cybersecurity. I taught myself penetration testing, threat assessment, system architecture. I maxed out 3 credit cards taking online courses from MIT and Stanford. I lived on ramen and worked from coffee shops because my apartment had better Wi-Fi at Starbucks. My family thought I was unemployed. I was building a company. The first client was a small clinic in Oregon. They paid me $3,000 to audit their systems. I found 17 vulnerabilities. Fixed all of them. They referred me to another clinic. Then another. Within a year I had 42 clients and $380,000 in revenue. I hired my first employee, Dev, a brilliant programmer I'd met in an online security forum. Then 2 more. Then 5. I never told my family. Every time Mom asked about my online thing, I'd say it was going fine and change the subject. Every time Marcus offered to help with my resume, I'd thank him and decline. They mistook strategy for failure. By year 3, MediSecure had 47 employees and $12 million in revenue. We'd secured contracts with 3 major hospital networks and 2 insurance companies. I'd been profiled in TechCrunch as a rising star in healthcare security. Mom called that day. Sarah, your aunt sent me an article. Someone with your name is mentioned. Is that you? Yeah. Oh, well, that's nice, honey. But you know, these tech things come and go. Marcus says you should really consider. I stopped listening. By year 4 we hit $47 million in revenue. Forbes called me for an interview. I declined. Fortune reached out. I declined. I wasn't ready for my family to know. Not yet. I was still testing them, still watching how they treated me when they thought I was nobody. They failed that test spectacularly. Last Christmas, Marcus gave me a gift card to a job recruiting site. Seriously, sis. Use it. Jessica gave me a book, Never Too Late, Finding Your Career in Your 30s. Mom gave me money. For rent, she whispered. Don't tell your father. Thank them all. The gift card went in a drawer. The book went to Goodwill. The money I donated to a women's tech scholarship fund. By year 5, MediSecure had 340 employees across 4 offices. We'd secured government contracts worth $89 million. My personal net worth crossed $400 million. I owned a penthouse in Seattle, paid in cash, but kept my old apartment for appearances. I drove a used Honda because my family expected it. I wasn't hiding. I was watching. Every dismissive comment. Every pitying look. Every time they talked about me like I wasn't in the room, I remembered it all. The summer reunion was my breaking point. Not because of what Mom said, though. Pathetic certainly stung. It was the look on her face when she said it. Like she genuinely believed I was a disappointment. Like she'd given up on me entirely. I drove back to Seattle in silence, my phone buzzing with family group chat messages. Jessica, I feel so bad for Sarah. 6 years and nothing to show for it. Marcus, we need to stage an intervention. This has gone on too long. Aunt Linda, such a shame. She was so bright as a child. Tyler, my offer to connect her with recruiters still stands. Dad, we'll talk to her at Thanksgiving. Enough is enough. I turned off my phone. 2 days after the reunion, my assistant Emma knocked on my office door. Sarah? Fortune's photographer is here. They want to do the shoot in the main conference room. Right. The Fortune article. 3 months earlier, Fortune magazine had contacted me for their annual CEO of the Year issue. This time I'd said yes. Not because I wanted the publicity. Because I was done being invisible to the people who should have believed in me from the start. The photo shoot took 4 hours. They wanted shots of me in the office with my team standing in front of our server room sitting at my desk. The journalist, Catherine Walsh, interviewed me for 2 hours. Your story is remarkable, Catherine said. Building a $558 million company in 6 years. How did your family react to your success? I smiled. They don't know yet. Catherine's eyebrows shot up. They don't know. They think I run a small website. They've been telling me to get a real job for years. And you let them believe that? I did. Why? I thought about it. I wanted to see who they were when they thought I was nobody. Turns out they're the kind of people who mock failure instead of supporting struggle. Good to know. Catherine's expression shifted. Understanding mixed with something like sadness. When do they find out? When the magazine hit stands. September 15th. That's 2 days from now. I know. September 15th arrived on a Tuesday. I woke up at 6 a.m. to 17 texts in the family group chat. No one had mentioned me yet. Just the usual banter. Marcus sharing a photo of his coffee. Jessica complaining about her kids' school. Mom posting a recipe. I got ready for work. Black pantsuit. Simple jewelry. Professional but not flashy. My phone rang at 7:14 a.m. Dev. Boss, you need to see this. Fortune posted the digital version early. It's already trending on LinkedIn. Good. Good. Sarah, you're about to break the internet. The headline is $558 million net worth at 34. The CEO you've never heard of. They're calling you the next big thing in tech. I'll be in the office in 20 minutes. I hung up and checked the Fortune website. There was my face. Full cover. The headline Dev mentioned plastered across the image. Below it, how Sarah Chin built healthcare's most valuable cybersecurity company, in complete silence. I made coffee, checked email, answered a few Slacks. My phone started ringing. First call, Aunt Linda. I declined. Second call, Jessica. Declined. Third call, Marcus. Declined. Fourth call, Mom. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Sarah. Mom's voice was shaking. Sarah, someone just sent me. Is this real? Fortune magazine. Is this really you? Yes. Silence. Mom. Your father is here. I'm putting you on speaker. A rustling sound. Then Dad's voice, strained and confused. Sweetheart, we don't understand. This article says you're the CEO of Medisecure. It says you're worth. He stopped. It says $558 million. That's correct. But, how? Sir, you've been driving a Honda. You live in that tiny apartment. I own a penthouse in Seattle. The apartment was for convenience. And I like the Honda. Mom's voice cracked. Why didn't you tell us? You never asked what I actually did. You just assumed I was failing. We were worried. No, Mom. You were embarrassed. There's a difference. Dad cleared his throat. Sarah, this is incredible. We're so proud of you. We always knew. Dad, stop. 2 days ago you told Aunt Linda you were planning an intervention. You said, enough is enough. I heard you. Silence. I need to go. I have a board meeting at 9. Sarah, wait. I hung up. The Fortune article went viral. By 9 a.m., it had 47,000 shares on LinkedIn. Tech news sites picked it up. TechCrunch published a follow-up, Why We Missed Medisecure's Rise, and What It Means for Healthcare Security. Bloomberg called my office requesting an interview. My family group chat exploded. Marcus tried calling Sarah. She's not answering. Has anyone talked to her? Jessica, I can't believe this. I gave her a career book for Christmas. Aunt Linda, I feel terrible. I had no idea. Tyler, holy shit. She's richer than all of us combined. Cousin Amy. Wait, when Sarah said she had a work deadline at the reunion, she actually meant it? Uncle Robert, I told her last year she should try selling insurance. Insurance. I'm never giving advice again. Jessica. Mom, what did she say when you called? Mom, she hung up on us. Marcus, she has every right to be angry. We treated her like a failure. Jessica, we? You gave her a job recruiting gift card, Marcus. Marcus, you gave her a career guidance book, Jess. Dad, everyone calm down. We'll fix this at Thanksgiving. Marcus, Thanksgiving is 2 months away, Dad. Jessica, what if she doesn't come? No one responded to that. The media requests didn't stop. Forbes wanted a follow-up interview. Bloomberg wanted me for a panel. 3 different podcasts requested appearances. A literary agent called about a book deal. I declined everything except one. A profile piece for TechWeek about building a company in secret. The journalist, David Park, asked the question everyone wanted answered. Why hide your success from your family? I leaned back in my office chair. I wasn't hiding. I was observing. People reveal who they are when they think you have nothing to offer them. My family showed me exactly what they thought of struggle, of unconventional paths, of anything that didn't fit their definition of success. And what did they show you? That their support was conditional. As long as I looked like a failure, I was an embarrassment. The moment Fortune validated me, suddenly I was worth celebrating. I paused. I learned more about my family in those 6 years than I did in the previous 28. Do you think you'll reconcile? I don't know. Real change requires accountability. If they want a relationship with me, they need to acknowledge what they did, and why it was wrong. Not just apologize because I'm suddenly successful. The article published 3 days later with the headline, Sarah Chen's 6-year test, and why her family failed it. It went viral immediately. My family's response came in waves. Wave 1, shock and disbelief, September 15th to 16th. Dozens of calls I didn't answer. Texts ranging from, this can't be real, to we need to talk, to please call us back. Wave 2, pride and celebration, September 17th to 18th. Mom posted the Fortune cover on Facebook. So proud of my brilliant daughter. O of the year. Party popper Marcus updated his LinkedIn. Grateful to come from a family of high achievers. My sister is changing healthcare. Jessica posted a throwback photo. Always knew this one was special. O of the year. Hashtag proud sister. I didn't like or comment on any of it. Wave 3. Confusion and hurt, September 19th to 21st. Mom's voicemail. Sarah, I don't understand why you're shutting us out. We love you. Please call me back. Dad's email. Sweetheart, we made mistakes, but we're family. Let's talk this through. Marcus's text. Sis, I get that we messed up. But 6 years. You let us believe you were struggling for 6 years. That's not fair either. Wave 4. Anger and Justification, September 22nd to 24th. Jessica in the family group chat. Honestly, Sarah is being dramatic. We were worried about her. That's not a crime. Aunt Linda. I agree. We didn't know. How could we? She lied to us. Tyler. If she wanted support, she should have told us what she was actually doing. I screenshot that entire conversation and sent it to my lawyer. Save this. I might need it later. September 28th, my assistant Emma buzzed me. Sarah, your mother is in the lobby. She doesn't have an appointment, but she says she'll wait as long as it takes. I checked my calendar. Back-to-back meetings until 6 p.m. Tell her I'm unavailable today. She can schedule an appointment like anyone else. Emma hesitated. She's crying, Sarah. I closed my eyes. Took a breath. I'll give her 15 minutes at 6:15. Okay. At 6:15, Mom walked into my office. She looked smaller somehow. Older. Her eyes were red. Sarah. She stopped just inside the door. Your office is beautiful. Thank you. I've been sitting in that lobby for 9 hours. I had meetings. She nodded. Sat down across from me. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. I read the TechWeek article. Mom finally said. The one where you said we failed your test. And you're right. Her voice broke. We did fail. I failed you. I waited. When you said you were starting a business, I was scared. Your father and we came from nothing. We worked so hard to give you kids stability, security. The idea of you throwing away guaranteed employment for some gamble, it terrified me. So you decided to make me feel worthless instead of supporting me through that gamble? I thought I was protecting you. No, Mom. You were protecting yourself. From the embarrassment of having a daughter who didn't fit your neat little definition of success. Tears rolled down her face. I called you pathetic. At the reunion. In front of everyone. You did. I will regret that for the rest of my life. Good. She flinched. I leaned forward. Mom, for 6 years I showed up to every family event. Every holiday. Every birthday. I listened to career advice from people who had no idea what I was building. I smiled through pity and judgment and unsolicited job offers. I watched you brag about Marcus's partnership and Jessica's husband's promotion while treating me like the family embarrassment. I know. I'm not finished. My voice was steady but hard. The only reason you're here, the only reason any of you care, is because Fortune magazine validated me. If that article hadn't published, you'd still think I was a failure. You'd still be planning that intervention Dad mentioned. Mom covered her face with her hands. So here's what I need you to understand, I continued. I don't want your pride now. I don't need your bragging on Facebook or your celebration posts. You weren't proud of my work when it was hard. You don't get to be proud now that it's proven successful. What do you want from me? Mom whispered. Accountability. Real accountability. Not, I'm sorry you felt hurt. Not, we were just worried. I want you to acknowledge that you measured my worth by conventional markers of success, and when I didn't meet them, you dismissed me as pathetic. She nodded slowly. You're right. That's exactly what I did. I want you to acknowledge that your support was conditional. It was. And I want you to understand that your validation means nothing to me now. Because the time I needed it, really needed it, you gave me judgment instead. Mom looked up at me, her face devastated. So what now? Are we done? Is that what you're saying? I sat back. I don't know. That depends on you. On all of you. What do we need to do? Sit with what you did. Really sit with it. Understand why it was wrong, not just because I turned out successful, but because I was your daughter and I deserved support regardless of the outcome. And then maybe we talk. But Mom, I held her gaze. If you can't do that work, if you can't fundamentally examine why you treated me the way you did, then there's nothing to talk about. I've built an incredible life. I have a team that believed in me from the start. I have friends who supported me when I had nothing. I have investors who saw my vision when all you saw was embarrassment. I understand. I hope you do. Mom stood slowly. The 15 minutes are up? They are. She walked to the door, then turned back. For what it's worth, I'm reading everything I can about MediSecure. About what you built. About the lives you've saved. It's extraordinary, Sarah. You're extraordinary. Thank you. I'll do the work. I promise. She left. I sat in my office alone, watching the Seattle skyline turn gold with sunset. My phone buzzed with another congratulatory email. Another interview request. Another investor wanting a meeting. I thought about Mom's face. The genuine regret I saw there. Maybe they could change. Maybe they couldn't. Either way, I'd already won. October brought new complications. Marcus showed up at my office unannounced. Security called. "Miss Chin, your brother is here. Should we send him up?" "Does he have an appointment?" "No, ma'am." Then no. An hour later, Marcus was still in the lobby. Emma checked on him twice. Finally, at 4 p.m. I relented. He walked into my office in his lawyer suit, carrying a folder. "Nice view," he said, looking out at Elliott Bay. "You didn't come here to discuss my view." He sat down. "Open the folder." "You're right. I came to apologize. And I came to show you this." He slid a document across my desk. It was his Facebook post from September 17th. Below it, hundreds of comments from his friends and colleagues. "Read the highlighted ones," Marcus said. I scanned them. "Wait, you gave your sister a job recruiting gift card for Christmas? Brutal. Your sister built a $558 million company and you offered her an entry-level paralegal position? That's absolutely insane. This is so embarrassing for you, Marcus. Imagine thinking you were more successful than a Forbes-featured CEO. Did you really not know? Or did you not bother to ask?" Marcus's voice was quiet. "I've been getting comments like that for 3 weeks. My managing partner asked me about it. My wife asked me about it. My friends asked me about it. And I've been thinking about what you said. About how we never asked what you actually did. We just assumed." He paused. "I told myself I was being supportive. Offering you opportunities. Trying to help. But you weren't. No. I was being condescending. I was treating you like a charity case because it made me feel important. Made me feel like the successful one." He looked directly at me. "I'm sorry, Sarah. Really sorry. Not because you're successful now, but because I should have respected your choices regardless of the outcome." I studied him. "Do you mean that? Or are you saying it because your colleagues think you're an ass?" "Honestly, both. The comments made me confront something I didn't want to see. But that doesn't make the realization less real." "Fair enough." We sat in silence for a moment. "Are you going to come to Thanksgiving?" Marcus asked. "I don't know yet. Jessica's spiraling. She's convinced you hate her." "I don't hate her. I'm disappointed in her. There's a difference. She gave you a career book." "She did." Marcus laughed, but it was humorless. "God, we really were terrible, weren't we?" "Yeah. You were." He stood up. "Well, for what it's worth, I'm reading everything about MediSecure. Your HIPAA compliance architecture is brilliant. We use similar frameworks in our corporate compliance practice." "Thank you." "And Sarah." He paused at the door. "I know I don't deserve it, but I'd really like to have my sister back. The real one. Not the version we made up in our heads. We'll see." After he left, I sat with that conversation. Marcus had always been the golden child. The one who did everything right. For him to publicly admit he'd been wrong, that meant something. Maybe not enough. But something. November 15th, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, I received a FedEx envelope at my office. Inside was a handwritten letter from Dad. 8 pages, front and back. It started, "Sarah, I've spent the last 2 months thinking about the father I wanted to be versus the father I actually was." He detailed every moment he could remember where he'd dismissed my dreams. Every time he'd suggested I be realistic. Every time he'd implied my path was foolish. "I told myself I was being practical," he wrote. "But the truth is I was scared. I worked in the same factory for 35 years because it was safe. I never took risks because I couldn't afford to fail. When you decided to take that leap, it threatened everything I believed about security and stability." The letter continued. "But here's what I didn't understand. My fear wasn't wisdom. It was just fear. And I let that fear poison the way I saw your courage. Because that's what it was, Sarah. Courage. You risked everything to build something that mattered. You spent 6 years working harder than I ever worked, and instead of being awed by your dedication, I called it a fantasy." On page 6, his handwriting got messy, like he was crying while writing. "When you hung up on your mother and me, I was angry. I thought you were being unfair. But then I read that TechWeek article. The one where you said we failed your test. And I realized you're right. We did fail. Not because we didn't support your business, but because we didn't support you. Actually, the brilliant, driven, visionary woman you are. The last page was simple. I don't expect forgiveness. I don't expect you at Thanksgiving. I don't expect anything. But I want you to know, I'm proud of you. Not because fortune said I should be. I'm proud because you saw a problem in the world and you fixed it. You saved lives. You built something that matters. That's who I raised, even if I forgot that somewhere along the way. I love you, Dad. I read the letter 3 times. Then I called him. Sarah. His voice was tentative. I got your letter. And I'll be at Thanksgiving. But Dad, I paused. I'm not the same person I was before. I won't tolerate pity or condescension. I won't let anyone treat my success as a fluke or my 6 years of silence as deception. Understood. And if anyone, makes a comment about how I should have told them sooner, or how they always knew I'd be successful, I'm leaving. I'll make sure everyone knows. Good. Thanksgiving Day arrived cold and clear. I drove to my parents' lake house in my Honda, because I genuinely liked that car, and arrived at 2 p.m. The entire family was already there. 37 people. The same 37 who'd witnessed Mom call me pathetic 3 months earlier. I walked in and the room went silent. Mom approached first. Sarah. Thank you for coming. Mom. He pulled me into a hug. Whispered, I've been doing the work. I promise. Dad hugged me next. Then Marcus. Then Jessica, who was crying. I'm so sorry, Jessica said. The career book, I thought I was helping, but I was just being condescending, I finished. Yes. I know. Aunt Linda approached cautiously. Sarah, I owe you an enormous apology. You do. I've been reading about MediSecure. About the hospital ransomware attacks you've prevented. You've saved lives. That's the goal. Uncle Robert cleared his throat. For the record, I'm never giving unsolicited career advice again. My insurance suggestion was ridiculous. I offered. I was going to say idiotic, but yes. A few people laughed nervously. Tyler approached with his wife. Sarah, I tried to get you job interviews at Amazon. Amazon. When you could buy Amazon's healthcare division with pocket change. To be fair, I couldn't actually buy it. But I appreciate the apology. Slowly the room relaxed. Conversations started. People asked genuine questions about MediSecure, about healthcare security, about my team. Not, how much money do you have? But what problem are you solving? During dinner, Dad stood up with his wine glass. I want to say something, he announced. The room quieted. 3 months ago, we all sat around this table and dismissed Sarah's work as pathetic. We mocked her dreams. We questioned her choices. He looked at me. We were wrong. Completely, utterly wrong. And I want to publicly apologize to my daughter for failing to see what was right in front of us. A brilliant woman building something extraordinary. Hear, hear, Marcus said, raising his glass. But more than that, Dad continued, I want to apologize for making our support conditional. For measuring her worth by conventional standards. For assuming failure when we saw struggle. His voice cracked. Sarah, you deserved better from us. And I promise we'll do better going forward. The room was silent. Then my cousin Amy stood up. I'd like to say something too. Sarah, I'm a teacher. I make $47,000 a year. You make, well, considerably more. But you've never once made me feel less than. You've never once acted like my career is less important than yours. That's the kind of success that actually matters. Others nodded. Marcus stood next. Sarah tested us for 6 years. And we failed. Spectacularly. But she gave us a gift with that test. She showed us who we are when things don't go our way. That's a hard truth, but it's one we needed to face. Mom stood last. I called my daughter pathetic. I will carry that shame for the rest of my life. But Sarah, if you let me, I'd like to spend the rest of my life proving I can do better. I stood up slowly. 37 pairs of eyes on me. I appreciate the apologies, I said. I really do. But I need you all to understand something. I didn't build MediSecure to prove you wrong. I built it because healthcare security mattered. Because people were suffering. Because I saw a problem I could solve. I looked around the room. Your validation wasn't the goal. It was never the goal. I learned to find my worth in my work, in my team, in the lives we save. That's what success actually is. But I paused. I also learned something else. I learned that I deserve people in my life who support me unconditionally, who celebrate effort, not just outcomes, who see struggle as growth, not failure. So moving forward, that's what I need from all of you. Not pride because fortune said so. Not celebration because I'm wealthy. But genuine respect for the work itself. For the journey. For the person I am, regardless of the numbers attached to my name. Mom was crying. Dad was nodding. Marcus raised his glass again. To Sarah, he said. The CO we needed but definitely didn't deserve. The room laughed. Clinked glasses. To Sarah, they echoed. I smiled. It felt real this time. Later that evening I stood on the deck overlooking the lake. My cousin Amy joined me. That was intense, she said. It was necessary. Are you going to forgive them? I thought about it. I don't know. Forgiveness isn't a light switch. It's a process. They hurt me deeply. They made me question my worth for years. But they're trying. Really trying. That counts for something. Amy smiled. For what it's worth, I always thought you were brilliant. Even when I didn't understand what you were doing. Thank you. And Sarah? That test you created, that was genius. Cruel maybe. But genius. I laughed. I prefer to think of it as strategic. Whatever helps you sleep at night, CO. We stood there in comfortable silence, watching the sun set over the lake. My phone buzzed. Text from Dev. Boss, Bloomberg just published their tech predictions for next year. They're calling Medisecure the most important healthcare company in America. Thought you should know. I smiled and put my phone away. The validation was nice. But it wasn't why I built this company. I built it because it mattered. And that, more than fortune covers or family apologies or $558 million net worths, that was the real success. Medisecure expanded to 520 employees. We opened offices in Boston and Denver. Our annual revenue hit $180 million. Mom started volunteering with a nonprofit that helps women start businesses. She called me once a week, not to brag to her friends but to actually ask about my work. Dad joined a therapy group for parents who'd struggled to support their children's unconventional paths. He sent me articles about it sometimes. Thought this was interesting, he'd say. Never preachy. Just growing. Marcus and I had lunch once a month. Real conversations. Brother and sister, not lawyer and charity case. Jessica took longer. But eventually she apologized for real. Not the surface stuff but the deep acknowledgement of how her judgment had hurt me. We were rebuilding. Fully. The rest of the family? Some got it. Some didn't. I learned to be okay with both. But the biggest change? I stopped testing people. I'd learned what I needed to learn. I knew who I was, what I'd built, what I was capable of. I didn't need to prove anything anymore. Not to my family. Not to anyone. Fortune magazine called in March for a follow-up feature. 1 year later, how Sarah Chin changed healthcare and her family. I agreed to the interview. Catherine Walsh asked the question everyone wanted answered. Do you regret the 6 years of silence? Would you do it differently? I thought about it carefully. No. I wouldn't change it. Those 6 years taught me everything I needed to know about resilience, about self-worth, about building something meaningful without external validation. My family's doubt became my fuel. Their dismissal became my motivation. And now that they know, now they get to be part of my journey. But on my terms. With boundaries. With mutual respect. With the understanding that my success isn't about them, it's about the work. That's a powerful lesson. It's the only lesson that matters. The article published with my favorite photo. Me standing in front of Medisecure headquarters, my team of 520 visible through the glass behind me. Not alone. Never alone. Just finally authentically seen. The headline read, Sarah Chin didn't need Fortune's validation. But she's changing healthcare anyway. Mom framed that cover. But this time I let her.